Hey guys, Allie, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this week's video is going to be the long-awaited guide to Canadian university applications. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie. I'm currently in my second year studying health sciences at McMaster. Before we get started, I just want to say, ignore the mess in the background. I just moved back home from Montreal this weekend and I haven't had the time to unpack yet. So we're just going to pretend that's not there. I've also made an outline of everything that I want to cover today, so timestamps will be put down below in the description box. I also want to take the time now to thank our sponsor for today, which is Pearson Canada. Pearson Prep is their free flashcard app, and it has adaptive technology that lets students quickly get a grasp on what their strengths and weaknesses are. If you get a question right, it will go to the bottom of the deck, but if you get one wrong, then it will appear sooner, and this allows you to study smarter and make sure that you know all of the content before your tests or exams. There's also a progress bar to track your status and various games that you can play to make your learning a little bit more fun than just the traditional flipping flashcards. I'd highly recommend it because it's affordable, easy to use, and helps you get the most out of your studying. I'll put a link down below, so make sure to go check it out if you're interested in hearing more. And without further ado, let's just jump right in. So first off, I just wanted to say the university application process is a little bit complicated, especially for those who haven't navigated it before. I'm actually a first-generation Canadian, so my parents both didn't go to school here, and everything was really new for me, so hopefully you guys find this resource valuable. Nowadays, basically everything can be found online, so if there's anything specific or if you have any specific questions, try searching up the university name, plus the program, plus what you're looking for, and most likely you'll find the response on their website. If not, I would also highly recommend just emailing the admission officers. Their whole job basically is to support you through the admissions process. So yeah, don't be afraid to reach out to them. This video is going to be like a basic introductory guide for people who don't really know what's going on at all. There's a lot of different requirements and specifics that are needed for different schools, different programs, so I can't jump into everything here. This hopefully is just going to be more of a general overview. Also, I know this says Canadian universities, but mainly this is going to be focused on universities in Ontario. I think there's 100 or something universities in Canada, and the majority of them are in Ontario, so yeah. Sorry if this is not as comprehensive as you wanted it to be. Feel free to comment any questions you might have down below, and if anyone here is in university or is a graduate of a university of Canada, I'm going to pin a comment down below, and feel free to add your contact information if you don't mind people reaching out to you. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I guess I'll start off with how this process sort of works. So if you're not from Canada, things are quite a bit different than from the States. For applications to the States, the majority of the time you just apply to the whole school and you indicate a program of interest, but when they're looking at your application, they're looking at your application to the school and not to a faculty in particular, unless you're in something specific like arts, music, architecture, something like that. But the majority of the time, first years are general, undeclared, just sort of in a faculty without having decided a major yet. In contrast, in Canada, most of the times when you're applying, you apply straight to a program. You can apply to multiple programs at one school, and each program will have a cost that I'll go a little bit into later, but instead of just applying to the school as a whole, you're going to be applying to a specific program or a specific faculty. So for example, if you wanted to apply to engineering and biology, you'd have to apply twice instead of in the States where it's just one application. Okay, so basically everything in Ontario is facilitated through this website called ouac, which stands for Ontario University's Application Center. And there's a portal for 101 students, which means current high schoolers in Ontario, and also 105 students, which is for students that are outside of Ontario but in Canada, as well as for international students. Basically, ouac just connects your high school, your university, and you all on one platform. Your guidance counselors will input your grades on there, and that's how they'll get distributed to the different programs that you apply to. You don't have to worry about that at all. If you're a 105 applicant, you might have to let your guidance counselors know that you're applying to Ontario universities. All the grades and administrative stuff is taken care of for you. All you'll have to do on the website itself is choose the programs that you apply to. If you're a 101 applicant, your school guidance counselors will give you information about how to log on in early to mid-November, and then that's where you'll be able to start selecting the programs that you want to apply to. But even if you don't have that information right now, you can still go onto the website, just indicate if you're an Ontario student or out of province, And then you can also just like start browsing the programs already. They've added links for every program that bring you to the respective page on the university website, which I find is really helpful because now you can like sort of go through there instead of looking for everything by yourself. So I would highly recommend taking a look on the ouac platform if you haven't already. That's like a great way to begin your search. Another thing to keep in mind is some universities might have a cap on the number of programs you can apply to or the number of programs in a certain faculty that you can apply to. So I know at U of T St. George campus, it used to be a thing where you could only apply to one program, but now I think they've expanded it so you can only apply to one program per faculty. So for example, in the Faculty of Arts and Science, I wouldn't be able to apply to life science and computer science. I would have to choose one of those to apply to. Once again, for each university, this is going to be different. Some universities might not even have caps, but that's something that you'll have to go look for yourself. So I know some of you might ask, what is a good number of schools to apply to? In which case, I literally don't have an answer for you. Some people know that they only want to go to one school or two schools, so they apply to 2 or 3 programs. And some other people have no idea what they want to do, and I know a few people who've applied to like 15 programs. So it's really up to you. Just keep in mind that there are costs with each application. So yeah, just be smart about what you choose to do. After you apply at ouac, it might take a few days or a few weeks depending on when you did it, and your university will send you information on how to log in to the portals for their website. So each university will have their own portal. So everything about your application status, admission status, and things that you still need to do will all be listed on their portal that is specific to the university. Okay, so now on to costs. Each program on ouac is $50, but the minimum amount you can pay is $150. So basically, you should apply to a minimum of 3 different programs because even if you apply to 1 or 2, you'll still be paying $150. Every program that you add on top of that is an additional $50. So for example, if you apply to 4 programs, that's $200, 8 programs, that's $400, etc. One thing to keep in mind though is that certain programs will have additional costs. This might be for like a supplementary interview, supplementary essay, if you go in for an audition. Yeah, this can range anywhere from like $20 to $70, so it will vary based on the program. I found in my experience that most commonly engineering programs will charge extra for you to complete like an optional video interview sort of thing. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind when calculating the cost as well. So the next topic is going to be grades and offers and admission because these go hand in hand. As I was mentioning earlier, university websites and the guidebooks will all have like the general grade range that you need to be in to get accepted. Some schools show the cutoff for last year, which means if your grades are below that, there's no chance of you getting in, whereas some schools do like a competitive average. So if you're in that range or if you're above that range, then you have a good chance of getting in. One really common question I get is, do universities look at your grade 11 marks? And the answer is yes and no. So basically what happens is each program has different ways of looking at marks. I know it's confusing. The whole school doesn't do the same thing. It's per program or like per faculty. Basically the 3 ways are rolling admissions, the 3 rounds, and the people who look at your grades once. Rolling admissions mean they're sending out offers as they're receiving their applications, so you can get one literally anytime. These programs will look at your grade 11 marks as well as your grade 12 marks if your grade 11 marks weren't good enough. The 3 rounds of admissions is sort of the same thing, except for they'll only be releasing offers on particular days. And this will generally be a couple of weeks after your report card marks get sent in through ouac. For the first round of offers, they look at your grade 11 marks. The second round of offers, they'll look at your grade 12 first report card marks as well as potentially your grade 11 marks. And then the third round will look at your like mid-year marks from grade 12 as well as potentially the other 2. So basically each round you have a chance to get an offer. If you did really well in grade 11, then you don't really have to worry because then you might get an offer of admission the first round. But if you didn't do so well, that's okay. You still have 2 more chances to boost your grades high enough to get an offer. And finally, for like the 1 round admissions, this includes like Queen's Commerce, McMaster Health Science, Waterloo Computer Science, and basically they just give out admission offers on one day. And this will be in like April, May-ish, once they've gotten all your marks from grade 11 and 12. Once you get an offer, it will probably be a conditional offer, which means you have to maintain a certain average in order to be accepted officially into the school or program. And once again, this is different for each program and it will be outlined in your offer of admission. So just make sure your grades stay above that cutoff. As for how you'll receive this decision, they will send you an email once they've made it. But generally, the portal updates 2 to 4 days before they send out the email, which is why you see grade 12 students just refreshing the portals all the time. It's because you'll be informed on the portal before you receive an official email. And also some schools like U of T are more extra and will actually mail you a package. So that's more rare, but that might happen as well. Now let's talk about AP/IB. So if you did AP or IB, but you're also getting like your provincial high school diploma, then the provincial high school diploma is good enough for applications to universities. Do I think AP/IB helps with Canadian/Ontario applications? Like, to be honest, no, not really. I know in the States they look for your like enrichment and stuff, but in Canada they mainly just look at your marks. You can input your predicted IB scores or your AP scores if you want on the separate university portal, but I don't think it makes that big of a difference, to be honest, because most universities just look at our percentage marks to make their decision. Okay, now on to supplemental applications. So supplemental applications will depend on the program that you apply to, so you're gonna have to do research. There's no way to see all the requirements of all the programs, so you're gonna have to go look and see if the program that you're applying to does require something extra. I will say the majority of programs in Canada will only look at your marks, and once you got that done, you basically don't need to do anything. But the more competitive ones, or the ones that are more specific, like the arts or music, you might have to do something extra for those. The supplemental applications will normally either be like a personal profile / statement, which is just like writing about you, or it could be what McMaster Health Science does, where they give 3 like essay sort of like questions and you have to answer them. And these might be to learn more about you, but also might be like totally random. They just want to see your way of thinking. And then for engineering, as I was mentioning earlier, a lot of programs have like optional video interviews, and these aren't real like interviews. Basically, they'll give you a minute or 2 to read a question, think of your response, and then you're gonna have to record your answer on the spot. And yeah, it's pretty simple, but if you're applying to a lot of programs, these can add up, so just make sure to keep track on which ones that you need to submit. Also, I wanted to quickly pop in and say for international students, there might be additional requirements, such as taking the IELTS or the TOEFL if English is not the primary language of your country or of your educational system. And here is just like a brief overview of the timeline. Basically, you'll receive your ouac info in November. The ouac deadline is early January, but there might be earlier deadlines depending on the programs you apply to. Supplementary deadlines normally go anywhere from December to February, so make sure to keep an eye out on that. Remember, you can't get an offer if you haven't submitted your supplementary application yet. So even if you submitted your grades and they're amazing, you're not going to be able to get an offer until you fulfill that supplementary requirement. Offers will be released all throughout your senior year, but the latest you can get offers will be at the end of May, and then you'll have to make your decision by early June. So here are some of my tips. Use a spreadsheet to track everything down, all the dates and the costs. Or you can also make a document and link all the web pages of the programs that you're interested in, so that's like a quick referral. I also bookmarked the portals for the universities that I apply to for easier access. For Eng interviews, be prepared to answer the most common questions like why this school, why engineering at this school, tell me about yourself, tell me a time you took leadership, tell me a time you faced a conflict and overcame it. Yeah. Third tip, I guess, would be highly recommend looking over those view books. Like, please go do that if you want more information. But I'll put an example of U of T's on the screen right here. And basically, it's just like an introduction to the university, different resources they have. And there's one portion of the view book that goes through all the requirements you need for a specific program. And these are great because they're specific to the school and you can look for the program that you're interested in. Most of the time, universities will come to your high school or somewhere nearby for you to go like visit and explore and ask them questions. But since things are like unpredictable with COVID, I would also recommend just simply searching up the university name followed by view book and then the year that you're applying. And most likely you'll be able to find a PDF copy on their website as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it on my list. I think I covered the most common questions that I get. And hopefully I directed you to the right places to look for more information. Once again, You guys got this. I know it feels stressful, but everything will work out. So I hope you enjoyed this week's video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure to give it a like, subscribe down below, and feel free to DM me if you've got any more questions. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you all next week. Bye!